The views and opinions of this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. There is substantial risk of loss in trading futures and options, which you should carefully consider prior to trading. Well, as we're wrapping up our time at the Cattle Industry Convention in San Antonio, Texas, a pretty tough day in cattle futures. Strong losses in feeders and live cattle. Grains, a decent rally in the wheat market. Seemed like it was some technical short covering. Quart of beans up a little bit. Slight gains there on the session. Plenty to take a look at. Joining us for market analysis and price perspective, Tommy Grisafi with Nesvik Trading and Ag Bull Media. Tommy, my friend, man, I don't know if I wanted to look at that cattle market here today. What a tough session that was in both fats and feeders, my friend.
Yeah, very intense. I was at my trading desk when the market opened, and typical open, we traded up a little, down a little, felt slow. All of a sudden, cattle down 100, 200, feeders, 2, 3, 4. And then I actually stepped away to do an interview, and I looked at my phone, and it said cattle down 400, feeders down 5. We actually printed like a down 550 in cattle, down 650 in feeders, stabilized a little bit. There's a whole group of people praying that we go down because they have such big hedges on. And then there's people who, when we do go down, say, oh, I didn't hedge, I didn't buy LRP, I knew the fundamentals were bullish. This happens a lot, Jess. We have really, 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 really bullish fundamentals, but some things have changed in the cattle market. And I actually think it has to do with immigration and our policy since the election. A lot of food cards have been taken away from people who aren't actually citizens here in the United States. We've seen it just a few days after the election that the mayor of New York said, that's it, go away. No more food, no more phone cards, no more nothing. And there's definitely, with what's going on with Trump and Elon and everything else, you see all the noise coming out on Twitter. Now, what's that mean for cattle? For the first time in a long time, I'm starting to hear that things are a little backed up on the shelves, and that we may have gotten ahead of ourselves a little bit here on the retail side. So I knew about that last week. It's just starting to hit the market. Now, there's one really big thing. There was a story that came out about a new strain of bird flu, and that's what did it. Because we were down big in cattle the other day, had a nice up day yesterday, but the story that floated around right at 8:30 really rocked the markets. And I'm not I'm not a doctor. I'm not a veterinarian. So what's a new strain mean? I don't know. But the market took it really serious. Now, because you do 5, 6 of these podcasts every day, the funds are really, really long cattle.
Yes.
I was looking at my charts. We're still trending up, but we're starting to approach the 100 and 200 day. And we get a couple more down days like this. You'll have a bunch of people making margin calls who are the new longs are already be underwater. The people who are happy are people who sold them too early. There's people who easily had cattle $20 against them. Now they're only $10 against them. And they say it's a hedge.
Yep.
But when you hedge something, you still have to make the margin calls, Jess.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the fund position too, and obviously it might be a week or so until we really know if funds have started to exit this cattle market, because the data will get Fridays as of Tuesday. But that's going to be curious to see. I think if the funds have finally had enough fun in the cattle market, Tommy.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about what I'm saying about the immigration thing.
Yeah.
When you have Trudeau saying we're going to put 10,000 troops on the border, when you have Mexico say we're going to put 10,000 troops on the border, when you have mayors of major cities saying get out of here, the free lunch is over, how many millions of people were consuming calories here in the United States on your and I's tax dollars and the people watching this show?
Very, very good point. A lot of things to think about on that side of the equation. How about the grains? Let's go over there. Wheat doing wheat things, I think, Thursday. Corn and beans, though, decent little day, 1 to 3 cent gains. I just didn't feel like there was a lot of fresh fundamental news in the grain markets Thursday, Tommy.
No, and the grains also sold off very hard on the open. We went from up to down. At one point, corn was down 6 or 7, beans were down 7 or 8, and then we turned around. Obviously, the best strength coming from the wheats, all 3 classes of wheats. I believe the funds are short there and slowly starting to cover. You're seeing some unwinding of that corn-wheat spread. And I tell you what, I own some corn puts, and I was really excited about them. And when that corn went from down 7 to up 3, the profits I had in those evaporated instantly. But I'm happy for our clients. Let's talk about the American farmer. February is crop insurance month, and we're establishing that price. Now, it didn't feel good Sunday night when the first day of February we had that down day. I seen you walking down the streets of Nashville with a guitar, but we're up on the week in several of these grain markets, especially wheat, no beans doing okay, D's corn. So when you look at the Feb crop average, wouldn't that be nice for our farmers, clients, your listeners, if we just got those levels up a little bit more, another 10 cents in corn, 20 cents in beans? That'd be a heck of a lot better than where we were just a few months ago. So watch that February crop average. 1 week from today, we'll pretty much be able to say, all right, we're halfway through the month. As long as nothing dramatic happens, this is your price in corn, this is your price in beans. That then helps people like myself who work with farmers and ranchers. That helps me manage the risk, Jess.
I was going to say, a lot of times folks like to wait to get that average price set, and then they really start to dive more into some of their marketing of new crop and managing more of that risk. Some folks dabble in it already, but it seems like more people kind of do that after we set that insurance price, right, Tommy?
Yeah, and it's also, we're renewing operating several times. Last few times I've been on your show, we talked about getting banker ready. When you're going into the bank and you're talking about cash flows and you're talking about how 2024 going, how's 2025 looking, once we're halfway through February, we'll say this is where we are in crop insurance. A lot of people intend on planting corn, I hear, because corn's has a better chance of making money than beans. That's today. Things can change, right?
Very true.
And so I'm getting ready to put out a recommendation. If you're going to plant corn, start protecting corn. Doesn't mean you have to have forward sales. You don't have to be sold or locked in, but start getting those floors developed. Combine that floor crop insurance with that floor of a put option, or you could do something more strategic. Now, one of the rumors that floated around, and this one scared me, was that China may come in and make some major purchases. This is a rumor. Full disclaimer, all this stuff, call us the fake news network, but these markets were flying around today based on that China may make a major purchase of U.S. grains to try to appease President Trump. I don't know. We'll see it. By the time we know, the whole world will know, right?
Absolutely. Tommy, if folks want to reach out to you for a conversation, what's the best way to get in touch?
Go to www.agbull.com. I put a nice big barcode in there. Take a picture of it. Give me a call. Love working with people, enjoying the good folks at Nesvig. And actually, Brian here, one of the primary owners of Nesvig, said, tell Jesse hi. And I was on my way home to take a nap when you called. I have a cold. I was at Walgreens buying Sudafed and something. I'm like, I'm going to go to bed early. You're like, want to do an interview? I'm like, all right, I'm turning the screens back on. Thanks for having me on, Jess.
Absolutely. Well, hey, sometimes when I call and need a favor, I know I can count on Tommy. So
I have one question for you before we end the show.
Okay.
I'm being serious. What did you learn at CattleCon?
Cattle producers seem to be in good spirits. Maybe not if they look at the futures after Thursday, but a lot of good things when it comes to technology and animal health advancement and more. It just seems like there's some positivity in the cattle industry. So I'll say the word is positivity. We'll go with that.
And let people know next year and the year after that, I think CattleCon's in Nashville.
It is, and it's going to be
folks at Nesvig are going to throw some parties. We'd love to have you up to the office or out to dinner.
That sounds like a good time to me. Appreciate the perspective. Tommy Grisafi, Nesvig Trading, Ag Bull Media. Good to chat, my friend. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, buddy.
Make sure to subscribe to the Market Talk YouTube channel. You can watch our latest interviews with top market analysts in the country, find bonus content, and much more. It's easy. Just go to youtube.com/@MarketTalkAg and hit the subscribe button. Or you can search for Market Talk Ag on YouTube.